So I'm Clive, I do the education stuff for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and I'm really the sort of warm-up for everyone. That's what they've got me, just to get everyone. So I'm really going to try and not bore you with dreams and dreams of education stuff, as interesting as it is to people like myself, but really just sort of give you an idea of what we're doing, what we have done, and where we're going with the educational thing. And so really a bit of background just to set the scene. This is way back. Here's Ada Byron. And I'm not going to start a flame war by suggesting she's the first ever programmer, but certainly one of the first people to think algorithmically and computationally. And if we jump forward quite a bit to 1982, this was me, or somebody like me. And this is a newspaper advert and probably the Daily Sport or something like this. And it really was quite normal to sit down and plug your TV into the telly until you got kicked off by your mum because you wanted to watch That's Life or something like that. And away you would go programming Spectrums, Commodore 64s, BBC Micros, and it was all good until 1999. And strange things happened, and they put a C into ICT. Okay, they put C into IT, it's now ICT, they changed the curriculum, and computing sort of disappeared off the certainly UK curriculum, and it became ICT, which is kind of a different kettle of fish. And things were kind of bad. They're kind of good as well, but they're kind of bad. Not as bad as some people perhaps make out. Really lots of good ICT stuff going on, but computing disappeared. And so some clever people came up with this little thing that you might have seen before, and thought, we really need to kickstart this, we need to get people into computing again, kids into computing, people coding, people happy messing about and experimenting, which is fine. So here's a little piece of hardware, which really is a toolkit for thinking and messing about and experimenting. But we're an educational charity, we always have been, and are interested in education. But I sort of tell you that until you sell a bunch of these things, 2 million of these things, you might not necessarily have the money or the resources to do what you wanted to do to set out when you first set out. And we're sort of at that point now. We've been doing loads and loads of stuff, and we're ready now to sort of go into the next phase educationally. And I just want to sort of prefix that with a little story. When I was at an event, this is a robot called Now, and I was at an event in Swansea, and I was on the stand, and I was literally sort of 10 feet away from this robot, and it is a damn cute robot. It sings, it dances, it sits down, it holds your hand, it responds to you, and as fantastic as it is, I was 10 feet away trying to sort of get kids sort of responding to coding. There's a bit of Python, and we were doing sort of 15-minute sessions and creating things. And of course, when you've got that opposite with you singing and dancing, the kids really might not be so interested in that. And so what actually happened in the end is, I said to them, without this, there is no cool robots, there's no smartphones, there's no Minecraft, there's no computers, there's no laptops, there's no Twitter. Okay, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to get immersed in, and this is what our job is. And it's quite difficult, because even actually standing in front of you now, everyone's standing up like Dave and sending birds into new space, and there's lasers and there's explosions and there's all cool stuff going on, and I'm sort of here talking to you about education. So this is something that we thought carefully about, how we're going to tackle this. And you can tackle it formally, and you can tackle it informally. So I know Evan talks a lot, and people in the foundation talk a lot about, it's not the sort of hour you might have in school learning music or learning something like that. It's when you go away, take it home, you do 3, 4, 5 hours a night. That's when you actually become expert in that subject. That's when you really take it on and immerse yourself into it. But we can do the formal stuff as well, because one cool thing about schools and formal education is there's lots of kids there. Kids kind of hang out at schools, and you find lots of kids knocking about. So we've got a kind of captive audience. So we want to do the formal stuff as well. We want to engage teachers. We want them on board. Again, it's not something that we can really talk about in this talk. It's a massive thing if you've ever looked at what the government are doing with the curriculum. and what people like computing at school are doing, what the foundation are doing. It's a really complex topic. Are there any teachers here, actually? Teachers here. So I'm an ex-teacher. There's a teacher there at the front. You know that this is tough, but we can do both things. And this is kind of where we're here at the moment. That a lot of stuff that we've done, outreach and workshops and resources and our forums, they're sort of, we're reaching a certain age group at the moment, and we're reaching them formally and informally, but we need to just take that further. And so our strategy over the next few months and the coming year will be to bring in a secondary team and to actually directly address what's going on in secondary schools. And probably more importantly, certainly as importantly, is to get them young. We know this is something that you have to do if you want to engage people, particularly girls, in computing, to get them at 5, 6, 7 and to actually start doing computing there. The curriculum's changing from 2014. In a state school in the UK, you will have to teach computing. And of course, most academies follow that anyway. A lot of private schools are sort of doing stuff already, but probably need to take it up a level. So what you'll find is that people in primary schools, particularly where they have non-specialists, really don't have that support at the moment, the expertise to bring computing in, to start using things like Raspberry Pis to teach and learn. So we'll be supporting that. You may have heard of this massive open online course that we've been involved in partnership with Cambridge University Press and OCR. So it's online, it's free, you can go on there, you can access these things. And it launched last month, I think, and it's being developed. What we want to do and what we will be doing is adding to that. So to the core stuff which drives the GCSEs, which you need to know to pass the GCSEs. That's great, you need to get GCSE, you want to move on from that. But actually what we'd like is people coming and having a look at that material who maybe aren't doing the GCSE, who are just casually interested in computing, and actually on that target audience, so maybe older people, younger people actually coming in to use that material. So we'll be adding to that. And this is where we'll be when we actually rule the world. This is where we will be. We will cover everything. We will make sure that everybody in this country and beyond has a chance to get engaged in computing, has a chance to play with computers from an early age. Teachers get the support when they want to actually teach computing. And it's not something that's happened at the moment. Raspberry Pi is a bit weird. Okay, it's something that a lot of people haven't seen in terms of computing. They're used to tablets, they're used to laptops. And so what we will do and will be doing is supporting the use of the Pi and allowing people to do that. Because without that exposure and without that opportunity, it just doesn't happen. And we want to be cross-curricular. We're not into sort of computing for the sake of hacking. We don't want to create an army of coders any more than you teach music in schools to create a bunch of concert pianists. You know, you don't teach art because you want everyone to be a sculptor. You want to give people a chance to say, no, this is really cool, I'm good at it, and I can go off and do this stuff. And we want to see it in art. We do some art installations, persistence of vision stuff. This is Rachel, our artist in residence, Zoe. It's a plant feeder, waterer, tweeter, fantastic thing, I love Zoe. And we want to see it come into tech and come into making and come into experimenting. And at the moment what we find is that a lot of the public perception of coding is this sort of Hollywood hacking bedroom stuff going up the screen and things like that. It really isn't. It's so far beyond that. Creatively, this is Sonic Pi. Some of you may know about, some of you have been involved in. This is a music scheme of work. So we will be making schemes of work that as a teacher you can just go and plug off our website that we're developing, a central resource to actually go and get stuff, to actually support teachers and to support learners. This is a full scheme of work. This is based on, basically it's learning computing by stealth. You make a synthesized tune, and on the way you learn fundamental constructs of computing, the loops and abstraction and routines and stuff. We want to see in science. I've taught science myself. I see a lot of expensive equipment not being used, especially monitoring, data logging, things like this, microscopy. Someone's talking later about that. The scope's massive, but again, we need to get people out of this paradigm of using tablets and PCs and stuff they're used to actually bring them out into the world where they can use a Pi with its GPIO pins, connect to the real world and do some quite cool stuff. And we started with Babbage, so Brian was sort of hooked up with Charles Babbage and his analytical engine, and that's how she got into the computational thing. And here's Babbage that you've already seen in Dave's talk, just about to take the skydive, just taking the skydive.
Someone told me he's twerking.
Especially with those spins coming out of this. So this really just represents what we're aiming for metaphorically, that if you give kids the opportunity and the toolkit and the support, and you give the adults the opportunity and the toolkit and support to use something like the Raspberry Pi as a tool for thinking, learning, messing about, experimenting, hacking, this is what you end up with, a big mixture of art, tech, science, radio, computing, all mashed up together to make fantastic things. That's what we're about, and that's what our educational programme will be doing over the next few months. Okay, thank you. Any questions? We've got plenty of time actually, so if there's any questions quickly, otherwise I'll have a chat with you downstairs, because we are really passionate about supporting teachers and talking to teachers and educators, and we've actually got a lot of things. It may, people sort of come up and say, well, we haven't seen a lot come out so far, and I can assure you we've been doing lots. We've got a lot of projects on board. Some of them I can't tell you about, but we are getting extra teachers on board, adding to our team. Mr. Nuttall sitting at the back there hiding is one of them. And so we've actually been doing quite a lot, and that's not going to emerge for the next few months. But if you do want to talk to us or talk to me, come see me later and we can have a chat and maybe talk about how you can get involved, how we can help you, how you can help us. Because we're talking to a lot of third parties at the moment about this stuff. So we've got lots of exciting stuff going on, and it will emerge over the next few months. If you want to get involved, give us a shout. Okay? Thank you. Good.